Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Dinga Salvador, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk to you about how we tend to help people close to us in a well-intended but not so efficient way. Have you ever find yourself in a situation where a friend went through a breakup, like ugly crying in their PJs, eating ice cream all day, and feeling like their world just fell apart? Yeah, I've been there too. Our initial instinct is to tell them it's going to be okay and that he wasn't such a nice guy anyway, or that she's going to find a better guy, which might seem helpful, but what they really need at that moment is compassion and someone to meet them in their reality. So let's talk about common invalidating responses. When you say to people, oh, it's all going to be okay, it will all work out, and you're going to find a better guy, or you haven't been single for a while, it's going to be good for you, and all these kind of statements or encouragements that we offer in a time of need to our friends. The problem with these responses is that it denies their experience. So in order for someone to feel seen and heard, we have to meet them where they are at that moment. So basically we have to try to put ourselves in their shoes and see life through the lenses of their eyes. And immediately trying to brush it off and trying to fix it kind of denies that. So they feel like their experience isn't valid or there's something wrong with it. So this kind of language creates distance and disconnect because it implies that there's something wrong with them. So we have to fix the situation. But basically what they really need in that moment is just someone to hear their desperation and just someone to sit with and experience their pain. And by denying that, it creates even more isolation and a sense of loneliness. And it can also come across judgmental. I think this is also a very interesting thing to do when we are supporting people around us, to kind of reflect on our own judgment. Like, where is this coming from? Why am I trying to cover this up? As much as it's well intended, why am I trying to fix this situation? Why is it hard for me to sit with someone who's in so much pain and just be there with them and just experience their reality? Most of the times when we judge people or when we experience judgment, it's because there is a part of ourselves that we cannot accept 100%. So what does true validation really mean? It makes people feel seen and heard, and that their experience is not only real, but it actually matters, and that they are not alone in it. And I'm sure you can relate to this from your own life experience, where you were going through something hard or devastating, and you felt that you just wanted someone to hold you. And this creates genuine connection also. I feel like in friendships, when you can show up as that friend who just is a shoulder to cry on without judgment or without trying to fix things, really creates an even more intimate bond with that person, because they feel that they can just rely on you. They don't have to explain, or they don't have to have a game plan to overcome the situation. They can just express themselves in that moment fully without being judged, just being enough as they are and being seen and heard. And also, I feel like we need to embrace vulnerability, because I came to realize that it is actually not a weakness, but a superpower. I admire people who are brave enough to be vulnerable in situations where it's like putting your heart on a little plate and just opening up in front of other people who might even be able to take advantage of that knowledge. Or that's the bravery in vulnerability, that you just do it with the hope that nobody's going to hurt you. And if you do that for someone, that opens the possibility for them to do the same, because they feel like, oh, okay, so this person really trusts me. This person really feels safe around me. So I am also safe to do the same, because they don't judge me, or they will not take advantage of the knowledge of the information that I'm willing to share with them. I think that especially the breakup situation, probably we've all been there, is a very good example how sometimes just compassionate listening can be exactly what the person needs at that moment. I think that most of us can go back in time and feel the feels a little bit from that really bad breakup that hurt us so bad, and just feel that feeling, like how desperate we were, how lost we felt at that moment, how like kind of a rug has been pulled out from beneath our feet and everything just seems like completely wrong and upside down. And just keep that in mind when you are trying to help someone who's in a difficult situation. It doesn't even have to be a breakup per se, but just any kind of hardship that they are experiencing. It can be loss of a loved one or financial difficulties or something around their job or something with their health. But the feeling, the hurt, the suffering is the same, right? So when you have someone in your inner circle or someone that you care about, you're trying to support, just try to feel back into that feeling, how you felt. Try to draw from that feeling without judging or without trying to come up with solutions for their situation, and just sit with them and demonstrate really compassionate listening. It's all about witnessing, basically, not fixing. So just imagine that person being like a small child who fell and hurt themselves on the playground. What would your reaction be? You would just want to hold that person and just make them feel safe, right? So I think this is also a very good analogy when we are trying to help someone to go through some sort of tough emotion. Instead of trying to fix things, just kind of think of them as a little kid who's hurt, and just give them a hug physically or emotionally, and certainly with your attention, because I feel that our attention is definitely one of our most valuable assets. And our current society shows this very well because there's such a huge competition for people's attention. If you look at social media or any kind of chewing gum for your brain. So basically developing that kind of empathy and that non-judgmental awareness can mean so much more to people than just the kind of there, it's going to be okay, and then coming with the list of ideas and solutions and kind of band-aids, like how to fix the situation. I feel that it's so much more meaningful, so much more heartfelt, and you will see it for yourself. You will experience it for yourself if you try this, that it will give a very different feeling to that person. And I'm not saying that they have to stay there forever. Like at a certain point, you do have to start to make changes or get out of that kind of suffering or do something about it. But initially when it's happening, I think it's harsh to deny someone their reality, because it's almost like gaslighting, like, oh no, you're crazy, it's not real, it's not that bad. But for them, for sure it's bad, because that's how they experience it in that moment. I think that's a very interesting thing to try. And it's not so easy. I mean, I think it's a reflex. We just try to fix things, we want our friends, our family, our people close to us not to have to suffer. So I think it's a very well intended, but a little bit outdated reflex that we have. And change is hard. It's like a muscle. You have to kind of practice it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. But I invite you to take that challenge and try to show up for your loved ones and your friends in a different way, and see what it brings. So if you get any value out of this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.